Hey, I'm Jay Holland. This is Guided by Faith, and I'm excited to be with you on the last of a 2-week series that we have been doing on living the mission, learning how to live on mission when we're at home, whether we're away on a mission trip or especially as we go about our day-to-day. Your summer should be a mission trip summer, even if you never leave your neighborhood. We've given you a lot of different tools over the last couple of weeks, and today we want to talk about your role and God's role. Have you ever felt nervous to share your faith because you were afraid that you'd mess it up? Or have you ever thought, well, what if they don't believe me? What if I say the wrong thing? The good news is you're not the one who saves. God is. I remember a few years ago, I was at a local soup kitchen. It was this mission outreach that was in our area, and it was a Christian one. And they did this thing where before they would serve the meal, they would do a devotion time where they would have somebody speak for about 5 to 6 minutes and then pray and then serve the meal. And I was with a group of people that went to help serve the food. I wasn't speaking that day. And I remember the guy that gave the devotion, he gave the gospel presentation, and I got to admit, it was like among the worst gospel presentations I've ever heard in my life. When I heard it, I was like, I feel like I'm dumber after hearing it. I feel like if anybody didn't know Jesus, they were even more confused afterwards. But you know what happened? Somebody raised their hand, got up, and came forward to give their life to Jesus during that time. And I was super suspicious. So I was like, well, they had no idea what they were doing. They were very confused. So during lunch, I went over and I sat with this person and I talked to them. And lo and behold, they clearly understood the gospel. They clearly understood their sin, and they put their faith in Jesus to give their heart to God that day. I assume maybe they'd heard the gospel before. I don't know. I do know this. It was such a convoluted, messed up gospel presentation, but the guy had a sincere heart, and the Lord used it, convicted, and brought somebody to him. Meanwhile, I have shared what I've thought was the perfect way to share the gospel before and had crickets, had nobody responding. And that kind of brings it down to the point today. Your job is to be faithful. Your job is to love people, to speak the truth, to point to Jesus. God's job is to change hearts. He's the one who convicts. He's the one who saves. He's the one who transforms. This means that you can live on mission without fear because the pressure isn't on you to close the deal. You simply plant and water, and God brings up growth. In 1 Corinthians 3, 6, and 7, it actually says that. The Apostle Paul says, I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the growth. So neither he who plants nor he who waters is anything, but only God who gives growth. So I love that. If somebody's going to come to Jesus, the chances are there's been a lot of people involved. There's been people probably sharing with them over time. Most people don't come to Jesus the first time they hear the gospel. So they've probably heard before. There's probably been examples of Christians around them. There's probably circumstances that they've gone through. There's things that the Lord has done in their life. And so it's not all on you, but you get to be a part of it. You're not ever going to have the perfect words that are going to be able to change somebody's heart. We've talked this week, you can prepare yourself. You can learn your 60-second testimony. You can learn a way to share the gospel like the 3 circles. You can memorize the Romans Road. But your responsibility ultimately is to be faithful, not to be forceful. And you need to understand that God is already working in somebody's life. He may be working where you get to seal the deal of getting to be the one to lead them to Jesus. You may be the one plowing the first time they've ever heard, and they may be angry, resistant, or confused. Or you may be somewhere in the middle. God's always working, though. He's working in ways you can't see. And your words may just be one step in the long journey. And even if somebody doesn't respond right away, your obedience still matters. A few weeks ago, I told a story of a young man that I got to share with. And again, this was one of those among my worst sharing experiences ever. I asked him, tell me about your relationship with God. And he was like, I don't really know. And I was like, what do you mean you don't know? And I was so baffled and confused and frustrated in the moment. I didn't go on with any profound words. Nothing happened that day. This guy ended up messing up, getting in trouble, getting arrested, going to jail. He got saved while he was in jail. When I got to visit him in jail, because he was in there for a little bit, he went back to that day and he's like, Jay, do you remember when you asked me about my relationship with God? I was like, kinda. And he's like, well, I never forgot that. Like, it bugged me and bothered me, and the Lord really moved in my heart. And so when I messed up and I came to jail and somebody shared the gospel, I was ready to give. I was like, wow, that's incredible, because that was like among the worst sharing times I've ever had in my life. I didn't even share the gospel. I got so frustrated, I quit halfway through. But God used it, because I had a heart to be in it. I wanted to be a part of it. I just didn't know what to say. That's the point. The point is, this is the Lord's work. It's not your work. So if you'll be faithful, if you'll just take the opportunities God gives you, you're going to mess up and it doesn't matter. You're going to say the wrong thing and it doesn't matter. You're going to say the perfect thing and you're going to see no results, because the results are up to the Lord. You can't see in somebody's heart. You don't know what's happening. You got to give it to the Lord. So you've just spent now 10 episodes learning how to live the mission. So now what? Don't let this be a series of just information. Live it out. Choose one step today. Prayer walk, practice your testimony, invite a friend over, work on memorizing the Romans Road, or offer to pray with somebody. God can use your ordinary summer in extraordinary ways. But the work is up to you. The results are up to God. And so remember, success is being faithful to obey what God puts in front of you. Success is not somebody else's decision. Success is your decision to be faithful with what God puts in front of you. So be faithful, trust in God, and enjoy the journey, and He will gladly use you and reward you for eternity. Hey man, have a great weekend. I pray you have an awesome one. If there's any podcast episodes that you would like me to talk about, any questions or series you'd like me to do, you can email me in the tagline here at the end. I tell how to do it. So listen to that, send me a message, or if I'm your youth pastor, just tell me and I'll talk about it. So I love you. Have a great day.